What's going on, YouTube? So luxury is about more than just wood and leather to many people, but also about the ability to go anywhere.
The Lexus GX has always combined those things, but starting now with this all-new GX, that formula has been taken through the roof.
This thing is fully modernized with more luxury, more off-road chops, and a new tech-filled interior. So is this a 1-2 punch to Land Rover? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, when we first showed you guys this new GX in a studio, it got very positive reception. And now, seeing it for the very first time out here in the natural daylight, I have to say I'm very impressed by this design. They did an excellent job, in my opinion, of really taking a rugged nature of this vehicle, you know, a boxy shape, but also making it very modern looking. That's going to start up here in the front with your signature spindle grille, but it's not the typical Lexus spindle grills. As you see, it's wider because the overall truck is going to be 3.7 inches wider than the previous generation, and it's also kind of compressed, which gives it that cool shape. Down here on your lower part, this is going to be finished in body color, and then when you choose the Overtrail trim levels, that's going to get you this silver piece down here, which actually leads into the real metal skid plate underneath for that actual off-road protection. Now that I'm down here, I do want to go ahead and mention that you will always get 8.7 inches of ground clearance at least, but you get 8.9 inches when you choose one of the Overtrail models. Now, let's take a look at the headlights as well. These are also very well executed because we have that signature Lexus look. Not too complicated, just your triple beam LED setup, your arrowhead daytime running light, LED turn signal below that, and if you choose all but the base trim, that's going to get you the LED fog lamps and the cornering lights. Now, walking around to the rear design, just like with the front, we have, I think, just a really cool look to this.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it in the studio. Out here in the desert in its home territory, I just love it even more. It even blends in with this paint color. Now, I want to talk about some of the individual design elements, and Drew's going to go ahead and hop inside so we can test out the taillights as well. But we do have an exposed rear wiper right here. We also have Lexus spelled out across the back instead of the Lexus logo. And then you're going to notice these signature LED full-length taillights across the back, and they have a really nice three-dimensional shape to them. As far as the individual lighting components, we do have an LED brake light, an LED reverse light, and LED turn signal. All three elements are LED. That's not a given on luxury cars, so I certainly like that Lexus is doing that here on the new GX 550. And then as we drop down to this lower area, very beefy, once again, squared off. And as far as features, no exposed exhaust outlets on any version of the GX. Of course, that's a little bit of a liability off-road, but as far as your tow rating is concerned, you're going to be very impressed. 8,000 pounds is your maximum for premium and Overtrail trims. Luxury trim levels do reduce that down a little bit, but 8,000 pounds is very impressive.
Now, moving on to our wheels, you are going to begin with 20-inch alloys on the premium trims. The luxury trims will upgrade you to 22-inch alloys, but if you choose one of the Overtrails, this is going to get you a special arrangement. We have an 18-inch matte gray finished alloy wheel wrapped in 33-inch all-terrain tires. So that, of course, is going to be very beneficial to you off-road because this is not just about looking tough, it is actually about being tough as well. But it does look tough. Versus the previous generation, which is a little bit softer, you'll notice we have these squared off wheel arches finished in the matte black. The overall side profile here of the hood is very chunky. And you'll notice, look at these mirrors. These are very square mirrors. I don't think I've ever seen mirrors quite this square. We've got the nice gloss black finish on board. We have LED turn signal indicators. And of course, you're also going to have blind spot monitoring and power folding as well.
Now here at the side, well, what do I have to say? It looks very boxy, as you might expect, but I absolutely dig the way this vehicle looks here in person. Now, as far as the overall vehicle length, it's 197.1 inches, which is about 3 inches shorter than a Lexus LX for reference. And as far as some of those design elements, you will notice that here on this Overtrail Plus, we actually do have blacked out door handles, and we're also going to have a blacked out two-tone roof, which I really love as well. Now, this is available only on the Overtrail Plus trim level, so you do have to choose this trim level to get the two-tone ability, but it looks really phenomenal when you pair it with this also exclusive earth color. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, Lexus is always good about including them all as standard equipment. That's going to continue, so you get all 4 active safety features as standard equipment. You do also have the availability of getting traffic jam assist available on all models. But guys, there is a heck of an interior we need to show you. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's go ahead and check out the interior. First, of course, take a quick look at the key fob before we get inside. Typical Lexus key fob, where you have your smart entry system, of course, as standard equipment. Digital key is an available option on all trim levels. And then to get inside, just reach behind the handle that will unlock the door. Now, let's go ahead and check out the cabin. If you own the previous generation of the GX, you're certainly not going to recognize this space. A lot has changed in terms of luxury and technology to take on those Land Rover products like I was talking about earlier, and that's going to start with the seats. So for the seats, you're going to have several different materials that you can pick between. So you're going to be looking at a new Luxe leatherette. That's going to be on your Premium, Premium Plus, as well as your Overtrail and Overtrail Plus. This, of course, is the Overtrail Plus, and as you can see, we've got a really cool color scheme going on. This is known as Chateau. It's one of your 2 options, the other one being black. So you've got some cool perforations up here at the top. We have a olive accent throughout the cabin. You're going to see this Alcantara. We've got some black going down the side here with our color contrast stitching. Overall, very nice looking seat, and I think it kind of matches with the exterior. You get semi-aniline if you choose the luxury trim levels. Now, in terms of the seats, you're going to have a lot of adjustment going on here. We've got a power thigh extension. I think the really cool thing that stands out, though, is the fact that this has driver's seat massage. So that's a really cool feature that's actually not even included on the Lexus LX. But let's go ahead and climb inside and get into the details. Now, getting inside is pretty easy. Thanks to our fixed running boards, you do get power deploying running boards on the luxury version. And like I said, let's dig into this cabin. So we'll start off with the materials. Over here on our door trim, we have a leather trim going through here, as well as the armrest. You'll notice we have a perforated leather through the center section, and actually inside the perforations is more of the olive accent. So it's very subtle, but looks really cool. We have soft touch plastic along the top. The same soft touch plastic will continue across the upper dash as well, and down here. And then as we go to the lower panels, this is all going to be finished in a leatherette with the nice stitching detail that goes all the way around the shifter. Overall, very nicely finished cabin. And this, again, is the Overtrail, not even the full Luxury Plus. But let's go ahead and fire it up. Now, you've seen the overall cabin and how the quality of it has upgraded to take on things like a Land Rover, but let's get into technology because this is probably the single biggest improvement. Obviously, the previous generation was very, very old, and because of that, the technology was, of course, outdated. Now we have a lot of advanced technology on board that starts here with our gauge cluster. We've got the full 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. This is standard across the entire lineup. It is reconfigurable in all the typical ways that you expect. Plus, you'll notice up top, we're going to have a head-up display. This is something Lexus actually offers as optional across all the trim levels, so you could add it to the base model or add it to the top trim level if you want that. Now we do have rain sensing wipers, and as we pull back to the steering wheel, we have a typical Lexus look to this. Nice thick rim, leather wrapped, good feel in the hand. You've got physical buttons here for your controls with your cruise and your audio. And as far as the wheel itself, it is going to be power adjusting on most of the trim levels. You can also get heating as well. Now, let's go ahead and turn over here to our center console and go through some storage things. First of all, we'll open this up. This is the opposite of heated steering wheel because we have a cool box. This is actually a refrigerated area where you could stick drinks, things like that. This is optional as well, or you can go for the larger storage area if you want that extra space. In front of that, you'll find a nice wireless phone charging pad, and we also do have 2 cup holders right here. These can be covered up if you want to do that. Otherwise, there's actually not really any space to stick a phone per se right up here in the front, but we do have a couple USB ports Underneath of that piece of wood there, you have your 12-volt outlet. And then we have a nice passenger side storage shelf though. So this is a good place for the passenger to stick their phone or whatever. It could also grab on here, I'm noticing, and hold on when you're going off-road very aggressively. Now, as we pull back to the shifter, nice traditional style here. They're not doing anything that's real complicated. You have, of course, your manual control right there. You can also use the paddle shifters located on the steering wheel. And then when we go into reverse, on pretty much every model, you're going to find a 360-degree camera system. As you can see, we do have active trajectory. When I back up, the vehicle itself turns transparent. And then the other thing I like about this is the fact that the mirrors do tilt down when in reverse to help you see parking lines easier. Now, when you choose the Overtrail version, this also gets you access to the trail camera system. And then, of course, to shift up to P for park, you have your electronic parking brake and brake hold right behind that. This will also get you into the area where you start to see a lot of controls. Because this is so worthy off-road, you can change your four-wheel drive settings right here with this switch. This is for both your center and rear locking differential. You have all your drive modes up here with this drive controller. Of course, you've got your crawl control and all the really technical features that make this so good off-road. Now, moving on from some of those controls, the next place we come to is our volume knob. So we've got a couple different systems you can get with this. You have a 10-speaker or a 21-speaker Mark Levinson sound system. Of course, this is a higher-end product, so we've got the latter. Let's give it a sample. Yeah, overall sound quality of this system is quite nice. Certainly fills up the cabin well. The only thing that would make it sound a little better is maybe a metal speaker grill. I said that before and people took that literally. That is a joke, guys. All right, let's zero in here at our big screen and take a look at the climate controls first. So the lower panel of the screen is a dual zone climate setup here. Easy to use because the controls are built into the display itself. One thing I really like about this new GX is that both heated and ventilated seats are included as standard equipment on every single version this time around. They do operate automatically as well with the Climate Concierge system. Now, in terms of the overall display, again, like I said, it is 14 inches, so this is a very large display, a lot larger than the previous generation as well, and they've kind of given it this cool boxy shape where it doesn't really stick out like a tablet like a lot of other vehicles do. Now, in terms of the technology on board, this is the latest generation of the Lexus infotainment system. So you have built-in navigation. You have all the features that you want, including wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay as well. Now, rising above here, we've got the frameless auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes. You can get a digital camera rear view mirror, but you're going to need to choose a luxury version. And another feature you're going to need to choose a luxury version to get is the panoramic sunroof. So in just that very top Luxury Plus model, that's going to get you this panoramic sunroof, which you can actually turn opaque with the push of a button. Otherwise, you're going to get this standard size sunroof with this shade.
Well, guys, let's see how spacious the second row is in this all-new Lexus GX. Now, as far as the space figures, we do now have those. So we're about 37 inches of leg room, about 35 inches of headroom, although, honestly, to me, it feels like a lot more than 35 inches because this thing is a big box. So you have lots of headroom, if you ask me. And we don't just take Lexus's figures at their word, because we bring our ruler so we can measure our own space figures with the seat adjuster to Drew, who's 5'8", I'm 5'9", and I'm sitting at 8 inches of knee space. My feet can also slide up underneath of the seat, and I do want to point out that these seats do not slide forward and back, but they do recline a pretty good distance. Now, I also want to talk about this. Now, here on this Overtrail Plus, we do have the the bench seat here in the back, so you can fit 3 people back here. Depending on what trim level you get, you can also get captain's chairs, but it is going to vary a lot depending on what trim level you choose. Now, as far as features are concerned, every GX is going to have rear vents. However, we don't have any climate controls or anything along those lines. Dropping below that, we have 2 charging USB ports. They're the Type-C variety, and if you choose a plus trim level or a luxury, you're going to get 3-stage heated rear seats. Ventilated seats are not offered on this GX. We do have a fold-down center armrest with 2 cup holders inside. And turning to the door trim is going to be nicely done. Soft touch on most of it. We also have rear window sunshades, so I definitely like that they're adding that feature. And then down below that, more leather. And then in the very bottom, we have quite a bit of bottle storage in addition to that really nice speaker grille. Now let's go ahead and talk about the cargo area. Now, before we get back here, I do want to point out this feature has remained the same on the GX. You do have the rear popping glass. That's something that a lot of modern SUVs are getting rid of. Definitely happy to see that they've kept that old school element because a lot of people like that. Now, one thing that they haven't kept is the sideways opening cargo area. I thought that was really stupid if you want my honest opinion, so I'm very happy that they just went with the traditional power tailgate setup. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this area. But before I talk about the cargo space, I do want to just go ahead and address something right here from the start. Now, not every version of the GX will have a third row for this all-new model. That includes this Overtrail Plus. We do not have the third row for this particular tester. Now, you can get a third row, and as far as the dimensions on that, it's going to be about 31 inches of legroom. I've sat in that in an auto show vehicle and in various other trim levels of the GX. It's a decent third row. It's certainly not as good as something like a Lexus TX, but it's certainly usable as well. Just keep in mind, you're not going to get it on this model. Now, as far as the space is concerned, if you have the third row equipped model, it's going to be about 10 cubic foot behind the third row. If you fold the seats down and go behind the second row, you will be sitting at 40 cubic feet. And then as a maximum, if you fold all the seats down, you're going to be sitting at about 77 cubic feet. So that's a pretty good amount of space. Once again, not as big as something like a Lexus TX, but you don't really buy a GX for cargo capacity or anything along those lines. Now, I do want to just point out a few features. We don't have any handles to fold the second row, so we will have to go fold that down manually from the second row itself. So as you can see, it does fold 60-40 split folding, and it's certainly not a flat loading floor, so do keep that in mind when it comes to this GX. And as far as the overall cargo length, that's another thing we like to do in all of our Car Confections reviews. In case you're looking to haul something specifically, we're sitting at 79 inches of overall cargo length. Behind the second row itself, we are sitting at 47 inches of cargo length, and then let's see how wide it is. As far as the overall cargo width, we're sitting at 44 inches of width. Now, as far as other features, we do have a household style outlet, and of course there's not really anything underneath of the floor here because we do have a full-size spare tire integrated up underneath of the bumper.
All right, so we popped the hood so we could take a look at what is underneath of it and powering this new GX. Well, it is a 3.4 liter twin turbocharged V6 engine. Power output on this is going to be 349 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. That is a substantial power advantage over the previous generation, which, as you remembered, had that naturally aspirated V8.
Now, as far as other powertrain choices, Lexus did confirm that there will be a hybrid model offered. It's not going to be available at launch, but do keep that in mind. All models right now have a 10-speed automatic transmission. You also have full-time four-wheel drive as standard equipment with a center locking differential. If you choose this Overtrail trim level, you're also going to get a rear locking differential. And as far as fuel economy is concerned, Lexus is estimating this comes in at 17 mpgs.
Now, of course, a vehicle like this is all about the performance. You want to see it out on the road, out on the trail. And we're happy to report you're going to see those things, but you're not going to see them quite yet. Yeah. There is a drive impression embargo, so we wanted to go ahead and give you guys all the latest and greatest details of our hands-on with this GX, but we do have to wait a little while longer out of respect for our fellow journalists to share with you all those drive impressions. But we have a lot in store for you guys, so make sure you stay tuned.
And how much is all of this going to cost you? Well, I'm happy to say that we do have official pricing now. So we're going to start at a little under $65,000 for the premium model. Premium Plus is $69,250. The Luxury $77,250. The Luxury Plus is going to be $81,250. The Overtrail is $69,250, and then this Overtrail Plus, as tested today, is $77,250. Now, we do also have a few options. So as far as how this one's equipped, we'll have that on the screen right now. But guys, if you're looking to buy a Lexus GX or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, why you'd go to our website is because we have a tool that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealer negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. Well, guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the all-new 2024 Lexus GX. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you help get us invited to events like this where we can come out to beautiful Arizona and be some of the first people to sample out this all-new product. So you really do play a very pivotal role, so please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're already a fan and subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support, because you do make this all possible, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.